What should you bring on your trip to Costa Rica? If you plan to go adventuring in this beautiful country and need help organizing your packing list, you are in the right place because in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything I brought on my recent trip there. You ready to get into it? But first, intro. Hello travelers, welcome back to my channel for an all new travel insights video. If you're new here, my name is Jeff Heyer and I run a social media nature series. I dedicate my YouTube channel to taking you on worldwide wildlife expeditions where we explore natural places and discover natural phenomena. Occasionally, I share videos such as this one where I share travel insights and answer the big questions that get asked me about my travels. So most recently, I went on a trip to Costa Rica that lasted over 2 weeks. This was a phenomenal experience. We explored several different parts of the country. It was a very wildlife focused and adventurous itinerary. We did everything from rafting to zip lining to hiking, going on a multi-day jungle trek through the Osa Peninsula, a lot of wildlife watching, and of course some laid back days by the beach as well. We did a lot on this trip, which is why I'm glad I thought ahead to make a very thorough packing list to make sure I had everything I needed for this trip. So if you plan to adventure in this gorgeous country and plan to do some hiking, some outdoor activities, and you're not sure what you should bring, in this video I'm going to share with you my full comprehensive packing list and share with you some travel gadgets that I brought with me that greatly enhance my experience. Everything I mentioned in this video, or versions of it, can be found on my Amazon storefront. You can find the link for that in the caption below. This is an organized place where you can get a visual of everything I brought with me on this experience. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to start things off by talking about footwear. Footwear is a very important thing to plan ahead on, and it's probably the #1 thing you're concerned about. And that's because if you plan to do a lot of adventuring in the rainforest, you're going to experience mud, some murkiness, it's a very wet climate, and you also want to have some easygoing shoes for casual leisure activities as well. So here's my advice for you. I would suggest bringing 2 different pairs of shoes with you. The first pair I would recommend bringing would be a very comfortable athletic shoe. Something that you can wear with you when you're hiking in the rainforest, something you don't care if it gets really splatted in mud, just in case it happens to be very muddy on your experience. In the tropical rainforest, it rains a lot, it can be very wet, which is why you want to bring something preferably waterproof. So these are the primary shoes I brought with me. These are simple Keen boots. As you can see, I prefer them to not have a super high ankle. And these were very great, durable shoes that I brought with me for 90% of the experiences I went on. I wore these for 4 days straight on a multi-day jungle trek through the Osa Peninsula, and they worked great. They kept my feet dry. They were very comfortable. It minimized blisters. Oh, Costa Rica sweat smell. My friend who came with me actually brought some On running shoes, and although I was kind of skeptical of her bringing those, they ended up working just fine. They didn't look so pretty after the experience, but her goal was just to have them for function, not fashion. So that's the first pair you should bring. The second pair of shoes I suggest bringing would be an open-toed shoe that has an ankle strap. This is just so you can throw something on that's waterproof when you go hang out by the beach or do an experience such as rafting. I brought with me essentially a knockoff pair of Birkenstocks, and I regret not bringing something with an ankle strap because when I went rafting, they did not allow me to have this shoe. They forced me to rent some water shoes that would ensure they wouldn't fly off during this experience. And this isn't the only place where I can see that being applicable. I suggest bringing something like Chacos, something that will really stay on your foot. Of course, you want something waterproof, something you can just throw on when you go hang out by the beach or go swimming, that sort of thing. So if you have comfortable athletic shoes and open-toed sandals for more leisure activities, that's going to be your dream team situation. This will allow you to pack the least amount of footwear possible, but still have suitable gear for all conditions. Next thing you should bring would be rain gear. So I suggest bringing a lightweight, thin rain jacket such as this one. As you can see, it's very compact the way I have it folded. In a tropical climate like this, it can rain anywhere from 10 minutes to 10 hours, and you want to be prepared just in case there's a freak rainstorm that occurs. I also brought a light, compact umbrella. This was equally as handy, especially when the rain was really intense. I did the rain jacket and umbrella combo. Bringing something like this was great and I highly recommend. So if you plan to do a lot of hiking like I did, I definitely suggest bringing a really nice waterproof backpack. This is the backpack I brought. It's from a brand called Origadio. I hope I'm saying that right. I've had this for years. It's such a great backpack. It has all these amazing compartments, and for the most part, it repels water. Probably the best thing about this backpack, especially when I was hiking for long durations, is that there's a chest strap, and this took so much weight off of my shoulders. But for the most part, this is all I needed, and I used this for 4 days of trekking. Next, I'm going to talk about first aid. So doing a lot of hiking, I got a ton of blisters on my feet. I got a ton of bug bites, open wounds, sometimes branches and vegetation was scratching on my face. So I brought a first aid kit, but this isn't any first aid kit. This is a Vessel first aid kit. I absolutely love this thing. Look at this sleek design. It's from a company called Vessel. The thing I love about this is that it's so organized. So all you have to do is unscrew the cap here. So you can unscrew the top or bottom one, it doesn't matter. And then if you pour out all these little canisters, you have all the things you need really well labeled and organized. You've got tools, outdoor essentials, clean cut and cover, and I've got some first aid tip, and it fits all in this. I really love this design because this cap, you can actually exchange it for like a flashlight cap, and I really need to get myself one of these. So imagine that this is a light, and then this also would serve as like a little flashlight. So quick shout out to Vessel. I love their products. I definitely want to get some more of them. I'm going to quickly talk about books I brought. So I know a lot of you are probably like, books are super cumbersome. I don't plan on bringing them. I love to travel with guidebooks. I love studying them when we have downtime. And I brought two with me on this trip. The first one was a wildlife guide. This is probably the most common guidebook I saw on wildlife, and probably the most compact, smallest one as well. I love looking through this book and just learning about all the birds, and they have great descriptions of everything and where you can find them in the country. The second book I brought was the Moon Travel Guide Costa Rica book. This was a nice little handy guide that gave me lots of ideas, especially for places to eat, and it's very thorough in its explanation on how to get places. It gives you a lot of background information on certain areas in the country, and I just loved having this with me along for the journey. Moon Travel Guide. Jumping back into hiking gear I brought with me, the main thing I packed on this trip would be athletic wear. I brought tons of athletic tees and shorts because this was super lightweight, it was a super humid climate, and it kept me nice and cool. This was the most versatile thing I brought, so I definitely recommend packing lots of athletic wear. I did bring some adventure pants, which came in handy, especially when I was in the depths of the rainforest, because there were some areas on some less traveled trails where some ticks were jumping on my legs, and wearing these during that portion kept them off, which was great, super handy. These are very lightweight pants that didn't keep me super hot when I was wearing them. My friend who came with me, she brought leggings, and that served her just as well. So whichever long pants you want to bring, I definitely recommend bringing at least one pair of those. On this experience, I brought a lot of dry food snacks with me. Lots of granola bars, lots of almonds, lots of nuts, those sorts of things. My favorite bar that I take with me everywhere I go would be RX bars. These are really dense, nutrient-rich bars that I take with me on all sorts of outdoor activities. In this one bar, there are 3 eggs, 6 almonds, 4 cashews, 2 dates, and no BS. They come in a variety of flavors. This one is coconut chocolate. This one is chocolate sea salt. So I threw those in my Amazon storefront if you're curious to try out a new bar you've never tried before. They are gluten-free, super good for you, and they definitely curb hunger when you're super hungry. One thing I brought with me, which came in handy a lot, would be dry laundry soap. Again, I keep mentioning this jungle trek experience I went on, but because it was such a wet experience, we got rained on a lot. When we arrived to the ranger stations for overnight camping, all I wanted was to clean my clothes because I was sweating in them all day long. They had a really gross, damp, mildewy scent to them, and I didn't want to pack those back into my bag. So Holly and I brought some dry laundry soap, and we cleaned them in their washing stations there, which was so nice. Let's talk about bug spray. Bug spray was an essential on this trip. I brought tons of it, and I had several different types on. One thing I brought was this Repel Sportsman Stick. This is what I put on my face instead of like the spray, because you don't just want to put like liquefied DEET on your face. This worked really well for that. And then I used the spray for the rest of my body. Definitely bring bug spray. Essential. Another thing you definitely should bring would be sunscreen. I hope I don't need to explain this. Pretty self-explanatory. Bring sunscreen. I'm going to make a quick note on camera gear because I know a lot of you are interested in what kind of camera gear I bring along for my trips. I have a Sony a7 Mark III, which I love. I use this for all of my adventures, and I bring with me a 350mm lens. This is what I call my wildlife lens. This is what allows me to get close-up shots of all the wildlife. This came especially handy in an environment like this because these animals are hiding up in the canopies. Not only that, but having a nice lens like this kind of serves as having a pair of binoculars as well. Although the camera was probably the heaviest thing in my bag, I'm really glad I brought it because we saw tons of wildlife. If you're curious to know more about my camera gear, I have all of that in my Amazon storefront link. I definitely brought lots of lens wipes because when I would take my lens cap off of my camera lens and then expose it to the humidity in the environment, it would fog up really quickly. Then dust and things would collect on there even faster than it would. So I used tons of lens wipes, which was essential in this environment. And then another cool thing I always like to talk about because people are so impressed by it, I brought this little memory card dongle that goes right into your phone. So what you do is you put your memory card in this dongle, plug it into your phone, and then they'll all appear on your phone and you can import which ones you want to save to your camera roll. So this makes it super easy to transfer photos from your camera to your cellular device. Something you definitely want to bring would be something like a headlamp. So in Costa Rica, a whole new ecosystem comes to life at night, and you definitely don't want to miss out on all the spectacular wildlife you can see during that time of day. We saw some amazing things when we did this, and I highly recommend bringing that. I'm now going to talk about a really cool travel gadget that you might want to consider bringing on your trip. I've talked about this in a lot of my previous videos because I love it so much and it literally comes with me everywhere I go. This is my Lark Pure V water bottle, and this is a self-cleaning water bottle. This is something I love having while traveling because it kind of adds an extra layer of protection to the water that you're drinking, because sometimes you get water from questionable sources, and this adds peace of mind. So how this works is you simply fill it up with water wherever you go, you put on the cap, and you press this button on the top which illuminates a UVC light. This light kills 99% of the bacteria contained in the bottle. And this is how the bottle cleans itself. This cycle goes off automatically every 2 hours, and the cycle only lasts 20 seconds each time. The charge lasts so long. I had this with me on one charge for 15 days in Costa Rica. And again, this is something that is always on me. So if you're interested in getting a Lark Pure V water bottle, it's easy to do so. All you have to do is visit the link in my bio and you can get your very own. A really cool thing about this bottle is that you can buy an alternative cap for it. So this one is the UVC cap. This is what cleans the bottle, but you can exchange it for a filter cap. This is essentially a filter straw. This is something I definitely need to get as soon as possible. And I would have definitely used on my jungle trek experience because we were hiking so much. I was so thirsty by the end of our first day. I was starting to get delirious. And of course we're in the jungle, so there's water everywhere. And I just wanted to go into a stream and start chugging water. But of course I didn't want to do that because rainforest water is a little bit questionable to just drink raw. Now, if I had the other water bottle cap for this, I probably would have just drank the water. I would have started by filling this up, turning this light on, letting it do the UVC cycle, and then I would have exchanged it for the straw filter and consumed the water through that straw. That would have been the best case scenario, so that is the one thing I regret not bringing on this trip, but I'm going to on future ones. Something I brought with me on the trek was this portable charger. This has 4 charges to it, and it's really nice. It works really well. And I actually bought these little short cords, so I don't have to deal with all these cords all the time. This is like a short one that just is fixed to this permanently. So thought I'd mention that. One thing I definitely recommend bringing, especially if you plan to be outside for long periods of time, would be a waterproof bag. I'm not talking about backpacks, I'm talking about something inside your backpack that'll keep things that are really valuable extra dry. So on my jungle trek, I got dumped on for probably 6 hours straight. We had a rain jacket, I had mostly waterproof things. My backpack is like 80% waterproof, but when you're rained on that much, it's just inevitable that things will get wet. So my passport, some of the guidebooks I showed you, they ended up getting quite damp. I even had some cash that almost tore because it was soaking wet. And I regret not putting that in like a plastic bag, or if they're bigger items, something like this. This is like a waterproof hanging bag that I use for backcountry camping. And I wish I would have brought it on my trip. As you can see, it's full of stuff. This would have ensured things kept extra safe during my trip. And it would have added a lot of peace of mind knowing that, you know, things like your passport aren't gonna get damaged. So far in this video, I've mentioned the primary items I brought with me with a short explanation to why I brought them. But if you want the full comprehensive list of everything I brought, here it is for you. This is literally my checklist that I had before embarking on this journey. As you can see, you know, all the different clothing items I brought. This list includes everything I mentioned in this video, but also has all the little things like toiletries and items like that. And that's it. So I hope you found this video helpful, insightful, and will help you prepare for your upcoming Costa Rica adventure or any other place with a tropical environment similar to it. Again, all the items I listed in this video can be found on my Amazon storefront link, which is below. I highly recommend checking that out. And if you found this video helpful and want to discover more ways to optimize your upcoming wildlife experiences and outdoor travel all around the world, don't forget to hit subscribe. I greatly appreciate you being here and supporting my work. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great time in Costa Rica. Stay dry, keep the bugs away from you, and safe travels.